Good morning. Welcome to Coffee with Connie. A day late, and I so apologize for that. You know, sometimes running a business, and let me just put it out there. I don't know about you guys, but how many of you have the cold or the flu or the whatever's going around, the crazy junk as the weather changes that we all get? So, unfortunately, that got me as well. And business things yesterday, and I just got really tied up and just didn't get a chance to get to you. So first of all, I sound a little crazy today. It's partly because of that whole cold thing and also because of this crazy weather. So bear with me for a minute, and I'm sorry for being a day late on you. Sorry about this. It looks like we're way off today. So I wanted to catch back up because I hate it when we miss, and I like to provide you guys information that hopefully is helpful when you're thinking about buying or selling a house, that we can share some information that might spur a question, that maybe answers a question that you have, or maybe that answers a question that one of your friends might have had that you weren't sure who to ask or what to do. So I am Connie Fuchsa, and I own Foot Title Group, where we protect your home ownership. And we do home closings, and we make sure that the process not only goes smoothly for you, that everybody comes together and all the information is pulled together and is done accurately, but when everyone goes home after the closing, that your ownership is protected. And so there's a lot of pieces that the title company brings to the table that I like to talk to you about. And there's a lot of pieces that the title company knows about that a lot of people don't understand that we do or that we know. So that's why I like to talk to you about real estate, about mortgages, about home closings, about all those pieces of the puzzle, because there's a lot of nuances and things that we deal with that we can answer a lot of questions for you on. And if you happen to be watching us live, check in and say, hey there, Miss Pam, how are you today? Good morning, Miss Heather, how are you? Thank you guys for tuning in. And if you have questions, feel free to reach out and let me know, because I can only answer the questions that I know you have, or that I think that have come up, or things that have come up through the closing. So this is one of those questions that comes up a lot. People ask me all the time, who is that person that's sitting at the table and doing that closing for me? Who are they? What are their qualifications? How do I know that that person is there to protect my ownership and that they've done what they needed to do? So there's a lot of different people at the title company that have different responsibilities. There's the people that make sure that the show is run properly, that all the documents are there, that all the numbers are in all the right places. And in our office, that person is called the closing coordinator. And that person is a person that does a lot of the contact with you, make sure that all the questions are answered that we all may have, and they make sure that all the pieces are together so that when we get to reviewing the hard parts and making sure that at the closing things are taken care of, that all of the pieces, they've found all of those things and have asked all of the right questions, and they've coordinated everybody for that. And then you have the person that actually reviews all of the nuances or the unusual things that may come up in the title, the person that asks those hard questions because they've dealt with these kinds of things, as far as questions that may come up in the title, maybe an ownership concern, maybe a mortgage or a lien concern that is potentially could affect an ownership. So that person is also the person that actually handles your closing. And in order to be able to ensure your ownership, sign off on that ownership, actually handle your closing and explain all of that information, and be able to work through all of the questions or concerns to make sure that the title to the new property that you're buying, the ownership, is clear, that person has to be licensed in the state that they're doing business. Now, the rules for the licensing is different between different states, but I can tell you in Maryland and Virginia, that person has to have a certain amount of time in the industry, experience. They can't just walk in, take a class, and get their license. The other thing is they have to have some experience in the industry. So a certain amount of years working in our industry. And then they have to actually take classes, and they have to study and take an exam. And once they pass that exam, then they do have a license. Now, with that license, they can do closings, but they also have to have bonds and insurance to guarantee that the person that's doing that closing doesn't do something with the funds that they take in, that they aren't fraudulently doing anything with the insurance for the closing. So there's lots of requirements, insurances, and bonds that we have to maintain on each of our licensed closers to make sure that if they make a mistake, that will cause you a problem with your home ownership, that there is some insurance to cover that. And also, if they happen to be a person that isn't a good person and steals money, that there's an insurance bond to protect that. So the insurance commissioner requires that we carry all of those things as a company to make sure that you as the consumer are taken care of for all of those people that work for the title company that are licensed. The other thing is those licensed people have to go through classes, similar to what real estate agents have to and mortgage lenders. We have to go through classes to make sure that we stay up to date on the rules and the requirements that are out there, because the rules change, laws change, the way things happen and are processed actually changes, and so we have to stay up to date on that information. And because of that, we have to take classes and earn credit hours. Some of those have to be in an ethics area, and others have to be in other areas about different types of things that affect real estate and the nuances of title insurance. So not only does a person have to have some experience in our industry, they have to take the test, pass the test, make sure they're bonded and insured, and make sure that they keep up that license. So every 2 years in Maryland and Virginia, we have to renew our license, and you have to take a certain amount of classes throughout those 2 years to make sure that you have the ability to renew that license. In every state, those licensing requirements are a little bit different, but that person sitting at that closing with you has to have a license. And so you might want to make sure that that's the case, because as we've talked about before, all title companies, all mortgage companies, all real estate companies are not created equal. And so that person sitting at that closing with you must have a title producer license to sell the insurance that protects your home ownership, and also to explain all those documents to you. Now, if they are an attorney carries a different type of license, and in most states, they have the ability to do the same thing without having a separate license to be a title insurance producer. But if the person sitting there is not an attorney, then they have to have a specific license to be able to do that. And they have to maintain those credits so they can keep that license up. And at any time, if you ask someone to produce their license, they must be able to produce that. So if they're traveling to do a closing, they probably don't have it on them. But they can produce it within 24 hours because they probably have it at their office or at home. But yep, and that license has to be up to date. So that person has to be a professional and has to be licensed, and you might want to double check if you have any sneaking suspicion that maybe there's a question. That is something that you can certainly check on. So maybe I answered a question for you today. If I didn't, and that was something you already knew, maybe there's somebody you know that doesn't know the answer to that question and might want to know because they might be thinking about buying or selling a home, or getting ready to go to closing on a refinance or a sale. So you might want to share this. I would love it if you would share this on your page, because it might help people that you know get some other information. If you have any other questions that I didn't answer, haven't answered, let me know, and I will definitely address those, because I like being able to answer questions that you have. The other thing is there's lots of resources on our website that are constantly being updated about things that happen before closing, during closing, after closing. There are blog posts about a lot of the things that we talk about, with links to other information. So there's lots and lots of resources on our website, www.foottitlegroup.com. You can go on there and register to make sure that you get all of the emails and information about that, or you can just check back there frequently. But we'd love to have you sign up for our list. We promise not to spam you, but we provide monthly lots of good tools and information for you. So thanks for tuning in. I appreciate it. Thanks for being patient that I was out yesterday. I'll be back with you tomorrow morning for Coffee with Connie. I'm Connie Fusa with Foot Title Group, where we protect your home ownership. Thanks for tuning in to Coffee with Connie, and I'll talk to you again soon. Have a great day, guys.